Hey, baby.
Oh, God.
You ready? Oh,
Ready. Ready.
It's easy to do.
Colombia. It was kind of when coffee was starting to be a thing in our city and in our area. This farm was built like for that purpose. Okay.
You still exporting from here?
What?
You still exporting coffee from this place?
No, not exporting. But let's say back in the day, it was like an only exporting thing. This is like 1850s when coffee is getting started. So we do export, but at a minor level. And in a way, when it got started, it was more like of a massive industry, which was like most coffee haciendas were doing in the country. We'll get deeper into that. But today is more about specialty coffee. So it's more like small batch. Yeah, okay. So in English, the legend of our goats, we left it in the shepherd Caliph and his goats and the cherries. Legend goes, my friends, that the goats ate the coffee cherry and they were acting different. They were acting like weird. As we were saying, that maybe they were jittery, okay, and shaking. Or sometimes you got a lot of remote workers right here, so they probably got their laptops and started to work, get very efficient. Anyway, long story short, the berries end up on the fire because like the wise men of the village, they kind of do a lot of things with it. Other people say that they just consider like evil and they just throw the berries into the fire and voila, the smell of roasted coffee was discovered for the world. Okay, that's a very common legend. I always add that it's probably not true. Okay, it seems too easy, too basic, but clearly it takes us to Ethiopia, which is like the beginning of coffee, that early stage. This is based on what I have read. It's like the 1300s, the Abyssinian Empire, okay. So we left the journey of coffee back in Ethiopia. Okay, I was mentioning now that from the Red Sea, okay, it kind of crosses the Red Sea and it goes into the Arab world, into the coast of Yemen, which is a neighbor country of Yemen. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, okay, all that. I was adding that Mocha is actually a place. I mean, I've never been there, but maybe you can give us some information on that. But I read that at least it was a port where a lot of coffee exports was happening from the Arab world, okay, and they were like sending coffee to Europe at some point, and that's why we use the word mocha to describe that kind of coffee, the chocolate, okay. So anyway, the important fact here is that it's the Arab world that develops coffee to the point that we can say that coffee is Arab. Coffee it's a beverage, a tradition, a culture that stems out from the Arab traditions, and it goes into Europe thanks to the expansion of the Turkish Empire. The Ottoman Empire takes coffee to Europe. Okay, Italians, merchants traveling also from Venice start to introduce like other traditions and cultures into the European context. So it's around the mid 1600s where coffee is part of European culture. Okay, so there's like 300 years or so that coffee is only part of the Arab culture. Very important that you have that clear too, because clearly then we owe a lot to the Arab culture, and we also like you guys know how to make coffee in a way. Okay. What I was gonna say about this Arab moment, the fact that we gather around coffee, like we're doing right now, having a conversation around coffee, it's also a tradition that starts in the early stages of coffee. Briefly, we are in Europe. Let's say now we're in Europe. Many stories about how coffee starts to conquer the European palate. I'm gonna choose one story today that takes us to London. I don't know if this is true or not. It seems it's true. We're in London in a time where universities are getting started, okay, and in a coffee shop back in the day, scholars were gathering. Only scholars, very prestigious people who were very smart and studying, they were gathering around coffee houses. Coffee houses better, not coffee shops. Mm-hmm. Coffee houses that were known as penny universities, because for a penny, you would order a cup of coffee, and you will share with very, let's say, with the Enlightenment, the people who are going to change the world, okay? So in our story, we are in London, and there's these two scholars who are going to dissect a dolphin in a coffee house, okay? So we're drinking coffee, boom, dolphin right there. Science is happening like right there at the moment in real time. And one of those scholars was going to be Sir Isaac Newton, okay? who was drinking coffee. So coffee now it starts to like spark that brightness of the Enlightenment. Okay. Also the French Revolution may be brewed in coffee shops. Okay. So we have one more chapter to go, and with that we finish. Okay. We left coffee in Europe. I was sharing a little bit of the journey of coffee from Europe into the rest of the world, basically. Okay, because it travels to America as a continent, and it also goes to Asia. Okay, and it even goes back to Africa. But now as European colonists. Okay, so of course us here in Colombia, we're a Spanish colonia from Spain, and well, we inherited that tradition from the Spaniards. The journey of coffee goes to the Caribbean, Brazil, Guyanas, Venezuela, Colombia. That's more or less like in a very fast way to describe the journey of coffee, but at least into Colombia it enters through Venezuela, right? And one more story about Colombian coffee is that the first coffee export is from a little town that we have like record of. It happened in a little town in, let's say, close to the borderline with Venezuela. And this Jesuit Spanish monk who was drinking coffee, the thing is that you need a lot of coffee cherries to make coffee. Okay, like for this little cup of coffee, you need like 35 cherries. Okay, 35 fruticas de estas para esta tacita, por una tacita de café. So he came up with a very interesting strategy. During confession, instead of telling people to pray Hail Marys and that, he would tell people to grow coffee trees. That was his strategy. He's like, you've been very bad, my son. Okay, you need to plant. How many trees will you plant, my friend? 10, 50, 100? More or less, on the hundreds, okay. And based on that, he expanded the coffee harvest, and okay, to the point that the first coffee export that we had from our country was from that little town in the borderline with Venezuela. Okay, to wrap it up, for Colombia, coffee is also a cultural thing. We have Colombians in the house, so you know that. It goes beyond the technical part, the expertise of how to brew and how to drink coffee. It's actually a culture, okay? Our own region right now here, we are in Antioquia. You know the term paisas, I guess is that clear for everybody? Paisas, entendemos cuando yo digo paisa, nosotros somos paisas, ¿sí? Como aquí Antioquia de Medellín, okay? And for us, dale. ¿Por qué paisa? Bueno, hay una teoría, así me la sé, paisanos. Por ejemplo, ellos tres que vienen de Vancouver, de Canadá, son paisanos. Okay, we have to start translating the question, right? Yeah.
The question I understand.
Yeah.
We were talking about paisas, right? Okay.
Costeño asking about
Because like
prices.
me, for example, I'm from the
Coast,
coast.
costeños.
Right.
So like for us, it's obvious.
Yeah.
All I don't know.
But paisa, like what? Why?
Yeah,
Caleña.
costeños from the coast. You know, people from the coast are called costeños, okay?
Cali,
De
Caleña.
los bayunos son del valle.
Yeah.
Son payunos, okay?
Payunos.
Americans, Canadians, and so on and so on. But Antioqueños, paisas. Why? Why paisas, okay? So that was the question. So, briefly, coffee sparks a very interesting exodus of people here in our country. To the point, there's an American author called James Parsons. He wrote a book, and he mentions that after the gold rush in Canada, the second large movement of people happened here in Antioqueño colonization. This is a lot of people from these mountains moving towards the south and establishing new towns. A lot, like more than 100 towns. A lot of them, they were created to grow coffee. It's like, we don't fit here anymore, we need to move. And instead of conquering like indigenous villages like the Spaniards did, these people conquered the mountains, but they chopped down the woods and they created towns. So there were like 80 farmers. Okay, we're gonna make the main square right here. We're gonna start a church, and they started towns. It seemed even like a bit of a delusional, like crazy people said, "You guys are gonna start a town?" Yeah, right. Well, people came 2 years later, and they found the beginnings of a new town. And today we have, maybe that you're traveling, you heard the term, the coffee triangle. Didn't you look that up when you were like, I don't know, maybe exploring the country? Coffee triangle is Manizales, which is a big city, Armenia, and Pereira. Okay. And they have a lot to do with coffee, and they're also paisas. We have a lot of similar cultural elements. We have the same accent, we create the similar towns, okay? There's plenty of things, And everything like the connection point would be coffee. The narrative that joins us off is coffee. The fact that we started to grow coffee. Okay. That was the question. Okay. No, wait, I didn't finish it up. Why are we called paisas then? Okay. Because I was saying paisano is like if you guys are from Vancouver, you're meeting here, you don't know there, but oh yeah, we're paisanos. We're from the same country, right? When these people met from their same hometown, they called each other paisanos, which is that same, I don't know in English, what would be the word in English? Maybe for a paisano, like countryman, I don't know.
I don't even know.
I think it doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Somebody from your own
Yeah, it's not a
city.
thing we say.
Yeah.
No
There's
existe en su
some concepts that only
lenguaje.
certain
No.
language name, right?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Maybe like an acquaintance, like somebody that similar place, but you don't actually know them.
But acquaintance isn't that.
No, because acquaintance, you have like some kind of
Like you can be, you're my acquaintance, but you're not from the same place as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Anyway, the whole thing paisa, at least in Spanish, paisa means country. Okay. Paisa, country. Anyway, to the point that when, even in that book, and I agree with him, it says for paisas, it's more important to be paisa than to be Colombian. Okay, so first we are from Antioquia and from our culture, and then we are Colombians. It's more or less like that, and I think we have some Colombianos in the house, and maybe you felt that with us, right? Anyway, important thing is that coffee is a cultural element. Cultural element. Today we talk about paisaje cultural cafetero, and that is a UNESCO protected like heritage. Taste, okay, get the seed, the seed that you have on your hand, and please give it a taste. It's a fruit that you suck on it, okay? You don't swallow it or bite it, okay? Yes. Just taste it.
Es dulce. Es sweet.
Sweet, eso es lo que estoy esperando. Es dulce. Sweet, fruity, delicious. What else?
You like it?
Huh? Sweet. Okay. El fruto es dulce. Lo que hacemos con la fruta, una vez la podemos poner aquí, si quieren la ponen acá, o la tiran a la tierra, la semillita, no se la traguen, okay. Si se la tragaron, ya nosotros tenemos una póliza de seguro. No pasa nada, simplemente es dulce. Es como el cacao, es exactamente igual al cacao, al punto. So we have the seeds and we have the honey. The technical term is called mucilage, okay, which is very similar to cacao, like we were saying here in Spanish. That sticky, honey kind, sweet syrup that you have on your hand is the key to the flavors of coffee. That's where I want to take you. But main point here where I want to take your attention is that the honey that coats the seed of coffee is the key to the flavors of coffee. Depending on how I ferment and I develop those sugars, I'm going to get different results, different coffee flavors or profiles that at the end is what is going to determine if you like a certain kind of coffee. It's going to determine how should I roast it, if it's considered specialty or not. Okay, many things will depend on how do I deal with the fact that I have sugar on the top and I want it inside the bean. Because what happens when I cook sugar? What do I get if I cook sugar? It burns and I get caramel. I get caramel, say caramelis. Therefore, that's why from the cherries we end up with this beautiful roasted caramel color for coffee. Okay, because llegó a este punto porque aquí hay unas azúcares que se tostaron y que me dieron este color caramel. In English now, Arabic versus robust.
I thought it was aromatic. Is aromatic and Arabic the same thing?
What?
Aromatic?
Aromatic and Arabic.
Are they the same?
It mean aroma, the smell or the taste.
I know, but I always thought there were two beans, the robust and the aromatic. But I'm assuming aromatic and
Arabic. I think in that
Is it
case,
same?
in this context, it's,
Yeah.
no, I think because you can have a robusta kind that could be aromatic,
Okay.
right? But the fact that it's Arabica, it actually refers to the DNA of the tree.
Okay.
You know, to the biology of the tree.
Okay.
Okay. They all stem out from the Ethiopian varietals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's like a big. Let's say we can like zoom in into the genetics of coffee. Okay, I think this would be maybe a deeper understanding of that. But to keep it simple, I would say that if you want to advance your coffee culture, you need to understand where your coffee tree comes from, what kind of varietal you are using. Okay, and I have a very good example for that before I translate it. Anyway, I was saying in English though that Arabic and Robustas are two main concepts. Okay, in case that's not clear, you have the Arabic family and the Robust. Being Arabicas or Arabic known for having higher flavor profiles but less caffeine content. And Robusta the other way around. More caffeine but less flavors. So if you're working with cosmetics, if you're working with caffeine extractions, if you're working with cheap coffee, if you're working with pharmaceutical purposes for caffeine, you're probably going to look for Robustas because you're not interested in the flavors. But if you are interested in the flavors of coffee, then Arabicas are the ones that are going to yield or provide you with very interesting notes. Sometimes very exotic, very different, very complex, and that's what today we call specialty coffee. Okay? So, Arabica and Robusta, clear in English. How much for a kilo of coffee? How much? The best coffee in the world today. The best coffee in the world today is known as the Geisha type of coffee from the north of Panama. It's breaking all records. I mean, like, think out of the box. Hay que pensar así bien, bien. ¿Cuánto por un kilo de café?
$8,000.
How many?
$8,000.
$8,000. A little bit more, but you were close. You were close. Ella dijo $8,000 por un kilo de café. Y yo le estoy diciendo cerquita, casi le pega. Pero un poquitico más. ¿Ah? ¿Cuánto? How much?
Como 10.
$10,000. There you go. $10,000 for a kilo of coffee. You know what a kilo of coffee is? Like two coffee Colombian bags.
Sí.
Dos bolsas de café colombiano.
Wow.
Dan $10,000. ¿Qué? Un tinto, $150. $150 USD for a cup of coffee. I'm not joking. I can show you, like, follow it on Instagram. I mean, they highlight, they post those prices. The best of Panama right now is the best coffee in the
But
world.
is it like
Listo, bien, puedan. Agüita. ¿Agua? ¿Ya tienes?
Sí.
Ya, listo.
Listo.
Puedan.
Let's go. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Toma una foto. Bueno, más así. Con el background, así. Más.
el qué?
La foto toma así, entonces puede ver todo eso.
Pero amor, la luz.
Yes. Let's go back here to coffee. In germination box, let's get started by the very, very beginning. What you have on your hand is not only the fruit of coffee, it's also the seed of coffee. So if you plant what's inside of it, and this is what I want you to do, plant your own coffee seed. In 2 years and 3 months, you will come back for your first harvest. 3 years? 3 years? No, 2 years and 3 months. 2 to 3 years, depends on the weather, okay?
Ah, bebé. Oh, are you ready to pick coffee? ¿Estás listo para pick coffee?
Yes, I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. Let's go.
And then I'm doing when I'm doing 4 days high to last year. It's like northeast.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. I can find it properly, but yes, in Colombia.
From Cartagena.
No, it's further to the east.
Seems like there was this path that they used to smuggle cocaine.
And then it's like a 2 days hike to get there. So it's about 6 days back. Yeah, and then finish
Okay.
the travel.
Right.
Mexico City, Oaxaca, and Tulum for New Year.
So that's
For the music. That was a 2 years ago, but gotta do it again.
oh, so
Same here?
no, I don't have like too many plans.
No. Going with the flow.
Yeah, I have actually.
Oh, you do? Oh,
That
Oh, yeah.
have some.
That's cool.
yeah, of course. Yeah. Are they here?
Sí.
At least staying locally for a couple months, I assume. Yeah. But how long can you stay here? Like, isn't it 90 days? Do you need visa after 90 days?
180.
I think so.
180?
Yeah.
Well, that's with the American passport, right?
Yeah.
Por ahí, si las ven. The white flowers that you see on the trees, Y try to get that smell. ¿A qué les huele? Hay una fragancia a flor en este momento. O acérquense a las flores del café y lo huelen. Por favor, aquí miren, aquí hay varias flores. Cada persona. Acérquense.
Sí.
Y huelan la flor del café.
Sí.
The flowers. Try to get the flowers, yes. Try to get a good get a good smell of the...
Es tu natural culture. Si no es conmigo, esa es tu vida. No. Oh, baby, pero más rápido.
Feel like a spicy, almost like a pepper.
Mamacita.
Mira, por aquí hay un varietal que es amarillo.
Si no haces eso, no tienes comida.
Se fijan, por acá en español lo va a decir.
Estoy un gringo en Colombia, trabajar por ellos.
Amor, tienes que trabajar duro por tu familia.
Sí, sí, también. Yo tengo 5 kilos, yo tengo $1. Bebé. 5 kilos, $1. Pero es bueno porque tal vez estoy más flaco. Bebé, eso no es tan fácil.
Mira, ahí queda bonito.
Yo pienso, yo hacer eso por 30 minutos, estoy aburrido. Ok, ya. Yo quiero trabajar en el computer.
Tienes que contarlas
Sí.
para que sea más entretenido.
Amor, es tu primera vez para hacer eso. Café, así. Sí. ¿Qué piensas? ¿Te puedo invitar así? Todos los días. No, no quiero.
Amor, ¿has visto cómo plantan el arroz? En el agua.
Sí.
En el agua, amor.
Ay,
Y es como plantas y van
Sí.
plantando en el agua.
qué loco es.
Son campos
Sí.
de agua.
Oh my God. ¿Tú tienes familia de hacer cosas así o no?
Chinos, amor.
¿Chinos? Amor,
Tengo un primo, amor.
primo de hacer eso.
Pero cosechaba marihuana.
Poco diferente,
Pero es casi lo mismo.
casi lo mismo. Tengo primas, amor. Oh, estás galloso, bebé. Yo pienso yo tengo primos a hacer eso también. Todo el mundo tiene un primo a hacer eso, bebé. ¿Cierto?
Mi primo lo hacía aquí en Colombia, amor.
¿Sí? ¿Dónde?
Pero
¿Dónde hicieron en Colombia?
no sé exactamente. Pero hace muchos años.
Sí. Ah, bueno. Come back down from the
Sí,
mountain.
es una combinación entre perro y vaca.
Oh, okay.
Por eso paca.
There's a clips here today in like an hour.
Her name is Paca.
Who?
Hers.
I don't know. I wasn't paying
Be-
attention.
Because it's a mixture of a cow and a dog, so perro y vaca
Oh, okay.
put together.
That's
So
funny.
they named her Paca.
That's funny.
Oh,
That's funny.
is this good?
Yeah.
1, 2. Okay.
Esas. Uy, gracias. Jessica, la valiente Jessica. Bueno.
This one is better.
This way? Yeah, forward. Okay, now we're gonna depot, okay? We're gonna use this old machine. 150 years old. But it's perfect to understand the principle behind it. Dale, go ahead. Ready? Yeah. Go backwards a little bit. Okay. Hold on. Yes, now you're ready. Crank it up. Esa es. Gracias, hermano. Thank you very much. Okay. Ok, bienvenidas acá al secador. Acá tenemos los 3 tipos de fermentación. Está el café lavado. Dice aquí lavado. Este es el honey, tipo honey. Y este que tienes aquí atrás es natural.
What's the difference between lush and honey? They put honey with the lush?
No. You sun dry it with the mucilage.
With what?
With the mucilage which is with the.
Ah,
Bueno,
without
washing.
washing it.
Ah, no lo pones en el agua antes.
Exactamente. Entonces, entren todos en verde. We left our coffee on a green stage. Okay, we removed the husk that we mentioned is called parchment coffee. Once you remove the husk, now you have green coffee. That's how it's called in English. In Spanish, we would say more like almond. You know, like the pit. En español también decimos en almendra. Almond coffee. Finally, that tip. Okay, and then you roast it. Okay. We mentioned earlier some special preferences for roasting. Ahora hablamos de que hay ciertas preferencias a la hora de tostar el café. Lastly, you mentioned Italy, right? Too dark for your preference. So it's like brewing it with cinnamon. That's what she's saying. Okay, like a Mexican, let's say, tradition. You brew it with cinnamon coffee and then you filter it. Okay. Maybe you've seen what we call the sock. You know what I'm talking about? La media, ¿cierto? The sock, which is that filter, that hoop kind of thing, and then, right? That doesn't age pretty good. But the way you roast it, like very, very light. Okay? So just ask in English in case it was not that clear, like if you have any special preference for the roasting style. Dark roast, medium roast, light roast. Okay? No? Nobody has a special preference?
Yes, medium or light.
¿Qué te gusta?
Light roast. Okay, that one is not that common. I don't have a lot of
Okay,
experience with
que
light roast.
roast,
So I don't, it's
que es
hard to
muy
find around here.
oscuro,
Light.
muy negro.
I mean, I've done maybe some experiments
Okay.
with people, but not like an
Grande y
official,
fuerte.
properly tested.
Sí.
Okay.
Medium is not.
Um,
It's definitely.
tenemos aquí, ¿cierto? Tenemos aquí el...
Yeah. En inglés es goat. Baby. Dice goat. Es un goat. Bah. Bah.
Mira cómo le quiere dar amor, ¿viste?
Sí.
Para defenderse.
You want to play?
Sí.
Mira cómo le haces.
Sí, él quieres.
Uy, qué feo.
Ah, that's funny.
Es hembra.
Sí.
Creo. Sí, es hembra.
Oh my god. Me toca ir. Tengo miedo. Yo recuerdo cuando yo era niño, mi padre tomaba ellos así.
¿En serio?
Sí. Todo el tiempo. Hola, ¿qué bien? Bien. Bien. Toque, bebé. Toque. It's like así.
Amor, no. No.
No. ¿Tú nunca haces eso? Bien, amigo. Sí, él gusta.
Qué bonito,
Sí.
amor. Tómame un video.
¿Un video? ¿De qué? Ok, bebé. Toque. Toque, bebé. Porque es de perro.
No, ya está jugando con el perro. No, se distrajo.
Espera. Here, just better. Right,
Amor.
toque él.
Yo creo que hay como dos especies de cabras. Hay unas que son mucho más grandes y son negras. ¿Cierto?
Es gracioso.
Ay, mira qué lindo.
Ah,
Le quiero acercar mucho.
amor, tú puedes. Ven.
No, amor.
Come on.
No.
Bebé. Here. No. Estás loco.
Quiero comerme acá.